Welcome to Sacred Rebels podcast, where we discuss life after trauma as we question societal norms and shatter stigmas. Are you a woman who longs for a sense of community and understanding? Well, stick around. There is a seat for you here. This is your host, Tay.
And co-host Amy.
And we're just two best friend millennial moms and entrepreneurs navigating life and motherhood while on a spiritual healing journey.
We don't do surface level, and we're definitely not your typical moms, so let's dig deep. We plan to cover it all and take you behind the scenes as we share our personal experiences, learn more about the holistic side of healing, and introduce all the incredible humans we've met along the way.
Join us as we share the good, the bad, and the ugly side of healing. We hope to help you step into your power. Thanks so much for listening. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sacred Rebels. We are so excited tonight. We're going to talk about our women's circle. You know, there was a lot of talk about, should we keep it light? Should we give another heavy episode? We should probably keep it light.
I'm totally down for just being heavy because that's who we are, but I guess we'll keep it light.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it a little lighter tonight and talk about what a powerful first circle we had on Friday. So like we start off every episode, we're going to start off with a big deep breath.
So we'll put one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't do that. Safety first. But our heart is our intuition and our gut is our wisdom. So just tune into that and breathe into that space in through the nose. Let that shit go, baby.
Let it go. And tonight, the card that I pulled, well, actually, I didn't even pull it. I was shuffling and, I was asking for guidance and wisdom and what message we needed to hear. And this card, flew out of the deck. And it's such a beautiful card. It's called The Perfection of Life. And if you could, if you're on our YouTube, you could just see this card. The artwork is so beautiful. It's like a picture of trees and the flower of life and the moon. And it's beautiful. And so the simple message of this is basically have you ever seen a storm pictured from above? It can appear to be so beautiful and elegant. This is certainly different to the ground view, which can be quite a violent experience. So too, there's great beauty in your life now. However, at this point in the natural process, you may be experiencing it as an anxiety-inducing experience rather than a beautiful experience. You may sense it as an internal chaos, and you may feel it as something that is waiting to erupt from within, as a relentless or anxiety, as a restlessness or an anxiety that you cannot quite articulate but sense vaguely nonetheless. Perhaps the chaos is fully fledged and a person or situation in your life is causing all kinds of havoc, upheaval, or change and uncertainty in your world. Whether the chaos seems subtle, strong, internal, or external, this oracle brings the same message to you. All is unfolding according to the perfect higher order. You are currently enduring a cosmic spiritual storm, which is having an impact on you, and it's clearing things out, ruffling feathers, and preparing you for the lovely, super fresh, uplifting feeling that one experiences after the storm has finally passed. So again, you are not forgotten. You have not been looked over. You are not unworthy. The storm that needs to erupt in your own heart is happening now. And so I feel like this message comes with that self-doubt, the feelings of being unseen or unvalidated or not worthy. This is all for whatever's happening to you currently or what you've been experiencing or going through is all for a bigger purpose. It's all for your life's purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say that if you, we pull these cards, and that if you're called to do something like this, or you're a woman searching, go to Barnes & Noble's, go to the self-help aisle. There's boxes of these cards. There's all kinds. Look at the boxes, feel the boxes, spend some time with them, and bring one home, and then call in. What you do is all your ancestors, all your guides, all your angels, and then the elements, fire, earth, air, water, and just call it in and just ask for the message. And we are telling you that the messages that you will get will ring so true to whatever you're going through. And just it's just an extra affirmation. Oh, okay, I knew that because like we already know, like
Yep.
this is the thing, like we are so powerful. We already have all the wisdom inside of us, in our heart, in our gut. Like we already know these things. Like we're
Yeah.
being called to fulfill this purpose. And so when you're like doing that and you're making the intention to like call in your ancestors, your guides, like all the people from like that have like led the way before us, and then honoring that you're just like trusting it, the messages are just like this.
Yep.
When I tell you we had the women's circle, and we'll talk about the women's circle because we are not a women's circle. Like we always say, we don't do surface level. So, you know, we had 22 people at our first women's circle.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. It was incredible.
Incredible.
It really was. It
Honored.
so like so raw, and I think so like validating to me, because I realized in that moment that like, no, we aren't alone. Like I'm not the only fucked up person. There's so many people that struggle with the same things that I struggle with, right? And I say that as like, you know, lightly, like fucked up, but like no, like I struggle with shit, Amy struggles with shit, these women struggle with shit. Like it's like, whoa, like we're all the same. Like when it comes down to it, like we might look different, we might have different backgrounds, come from different things, but like we are the fucking same. Like we are the same. And it was just like validated. Like that was like validated for me. Like
Yeah.
we are the fucking same. And I've never felt so seen and heard and understood in my life.
Yeah, same. And it was like everybody came in, and we don't do surface level. We aren't like sitting in a circle, like singing fucking kumbaya, like being like, oh yeah, please bitch about your problems and tell us like how your boyfriend or how like your girlfriend or whatever it is. That's like, no, we're not here for that. We're not, this wasn't like a, oh, come and share your problems and then we're going to like pat you on the back and tell you you're doing fucking amazing.
Yeah.
'Cause like you're just showing up to like, nope. Not what we're doing here, hun.
Yeah.
So, everything we do in everything like who we are, it's not me, right? Like I'm not taking credit for any of the things
Yeah.
that happen. Like
Same.
this is bigger than me. But what I've been able to do through my own healing is open myself up as a vessel.
Yeah.
Like I've opened myself up as a vessel. It's
To
like
have these clear messages.
Something I learned through experiences like Kaylin last week of being like, wow, this actually has nothing to do with me. And I know me as a human being, and this human experience is not like it, right? Like it's not powerful. It's not that. But like I've been given this gift of like tuning into like having an understanding that like we can be a vessel, and that as long as we just like show up for people, right? So
Yeah.
like I just showed up very vulnerable in this space, shared very vulnerable things that were going on in my life personally,
Yeah.
and opened the door up to being like, wow, I'm really fucked up and I have a lot of fucked up shit going on, and like I see you and like I'm here. So I called Tay a couple weeks ago because
Yeah.
like,
This is the whole thing, right? Like she was like, we were figuring out what we were going to do. Cause like we prefaced this whole circle. We were like, listen, we don't know what we're doing. We just felt so called to hold space for women because we knew we needed it. We knew other women would probably need it. And now here we are just trying to like, you know, go with the motions and not really know what the fuck we're doing. But like we're here and we're showing up and we're going to do the things. And so as this was going on and as the weeks were passing by, I'm like, dude, Aim, what are we going to do? And she was like, listen, like it'll come. And I'm like, you know, whatever, I'm trusting you, you know, I'm trusting the universe. And one day she calls me and she's like, I got it. This is it. I had a fucking dream. Like, you have to write this down. So I like run, grab a notebook. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm writing it down. And she's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about our toxic traits. And I was like, ooh, okay. Like, okay. Like, that's good. Like, our own toxic traits, though, right? Like, we talked about this before. It's like not the toxic traits that you have towards others, the toxic traits that you have towards yourself. So we had to identify this toxic trait, and then we had to actually my therapist was the one who suggested these next couple steps, which I thought was so brilliant that I like had to include it. But a lot of times in therapy when I'm feeling these things and I don't know how to like kind of put words to it, she tells me to identify a color. Like, does it look like something? Does it look like a color? And then she has me identify the feeling in my body of like where it comes up. Is it in my stomach? Is it in my chest? Am I clenching my fists? Am I clenching my jaw? Like, where does it show up in the body? So then we had them identify a color, identify a part of the body, find the opposite of that toxic trait, and then like how can you heal from those things, and how can we help you heal from those things.
And as crazy as it is, like, I made everybody share because I was like, yeah, no, we're like going around the circle and sharing. Our circle ended up being like almost
hour
3.
and a half.
Well, the whole
Oh,
thing
yeah.
together was like almost 3
3
hours.
hours.
But everybody stayed, and on a Friday night, it was so beautiful. But I did give everybody the option to leave after an hour and a half. So we went around the circle and everybody shared. And when we tell you that everybody shared pretty much the same thing that they were feeling, but like in their own words, of really just being like unseen and unheard, like as women.
Yeah, and unvalidated.
And negative self-talk,
Yeah,
right? Like just
such bad negative
bringing
self-talk, which like
ourselves
crushed
down.
me. Crushed
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like so crazy, right? Like, we can be so hard on ourselves, but to like imagine someone else is going through the same thing is so much harder for me. I don't know if that's like anyone else's experience, but like I can be so down on myself, but to see you going through some shit, it hits me different. Like, I'm like, no, like, why is she going through that? Like, it hurts so bad. And to hear all these women share about not being good enough, not being seen, like not being content, not feeling like, you know, just like all of the things, the negative self-talk, not feeling beautiful, like it like crushed me. Like, because all these women are so beautiful, and I'm just like, how could you talk to yourself like that? And then I'm like, oh shit, I do the same shit. I talk to
Yeah.
myself like that. I do the same shit.
There was 22 women that sat in that room on Friday night, and all were seen and validated and
Yeah.
heard. And like everyone noticed it. Like there was one woman that was just like, she stopped the circle and she's
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Like, I just have to say, like, I'm so proud of all of us, because like, holy shit, I've felt so alone
Yeah.
for so long, and like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Like, how is it that there is like all these people feeling the same exact way, and I never knew that there was all these women and we were all feeling the
Yeah.
same exact way?
And that is exactly why we had to do this. Like, we were away that weekend, and it came to us. You came running up the stairs to me, and you're like, this is it. It's got to be a women's circle. Like, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, holy shit, you're right. Like, that's it. It's like, right. Like, we needed this so bad that we had to offer it to other people. And we just knew that because we were feeling this way, there must be other women out there that feel the exact same way. And because we had this, like, we had like AA, and we had this community background, we knew what that beautiful community and sisterhood could look like. We were just like, we have to bring this to people who have never experienced that,
But
who
it was
need
never
this.
beautiful, unfortunately.
I know.
It was very toxic
I know.
and very sick. Like, this whole...
But the community part of it, like, that's something that I've been missing. Like, no matter how toxic or what it was like I still felt seen, kind of understood, of like, okay, I am this way because of this,
Yeah.
whatever. You know, like, not alone. Like, you're
Yeah,
not alone.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the not alone. And that was like the biggest message of Friday night, is that everybody wasn't alone. So again, so back to like not surface level shit, right? So we didn't just like all sit in a circle and like say what our toxic trait was. We like identified the color, like identified it in our body. I gave people the opportunity to leave. I did.
There was
like,
a couple people who had to, just because their significant others were so great enough to like bring them all the way here, and they were
Yeah.
waiting in the parking lot for them. But for the most part, everyone stayed.
Yeah, and we did another hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I did a sound bath, and I, did the instruments, and I had everybody like tune into that part of their body, like where the pain was in their body, or like, and the craziest part about it is we had color and part of body, and every single person chose one of 3 colors. It was red, it was gray, or it was blue. And every single person...
One girl had like a dark yellow, which I thought was really cool. She
Yeah.
like identified a dark yellow.
Which is solar plexus, which is like an empowerment, and her like thing was like about like
Yeah,
feeling
that's-
empowered, like as a mother, and like not like, and like understanding that. And we were able to like,
Yeah.
if you sit in quiet space as a woman, even as a man, I don't know, because I'm not a man, right? So like I'm speaking from a woman's view, right? Like, I know my intuition, and I know a woman's intuition, that if you really can like sit quietly and like know, like trust that, because your body is speaking to you, your
Yeah.
intuition is speaking to you, you know how to heal you more than anybody will ever know.
Yeah.
Like,
Deep down, we all know what we need.
we do. And we've been shamed to like think, and like been disempowered.
Yeah.
And like that just like hasn't been like like, God, I can't think of the word. Like, it hasn't been encouraged in you to, like, believe in yourself and to, like, believe that you have the willingness, because also just our society is like, oh, yeah, you have to go to a therapist. Oh, yeah, you have to go to a doctor. Like, oh, yeah, you need a pill.
Meds.
You need a meds. You need this. You need that. Like, you need that. Yeah, you might need all of those things, but just know that it has to come from you. The suggestion and the idea has to come from you. Because that's where, like, you're going to feel empowered and step into your power and, like, know. So we, got into the sound bath, and I had everybody protect themselves with their own energy and their own light. And then as that happens, what sound vibration does, and being a sound practitioner, and what the crystal bowls do and the gong does, is it brings you into one, like a present state because of the sound and the vibration, but also
it's a crazy feeling. If you've never experienced a sound healing, like 10 out of 10 recommend. It's wild.
So the bowls actually heal you on a cellular level, right? Because, like, what does vibration do to water?
Yeah.
It moves it.
And
what are we? Water. So it just needs to move. Like, we need to move. Like, we need to move our muscles, like, all of the things. But talking about trauma living in the body is that the beautiful thing about trauma in the body and trauma in the mind is that, we have a monkey mind, and our mind's going to put a logical explanation on our trauma and be like, oh, this specific trauma is so much worse than this specific trauma, and we can go in this rabbit hole of all that. But the crazy part about it is our issues lie in our tissues, and our bodies, like our physical bodies, don't actually have a logical way to process the trauma.
Yeah.
It's just stored in our fascial tissue.
Yep.
So we have to move our bodies. We, like, have to move our things. So when we can bring awareness to the part where, like, these traumas have stored in our bodies, and we can be like, oh, okay, I'm trusting that this is in my hips, or this is in my chest,
I
or
carry
this
a
is in my
lot
throat.
of trauma in my hips.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
A lot of women do. Childbirth, all the things.
I have so much trauma in my hips. It's crazy.
And just sitting, like, we're stagnant cultures. Like, a lot of people don't actually know how to, like, engage their pelvic floor. And just, like, the simple movement of, like, shifting your pelvic floor is so important. Like, pelvic floor specialist, like, that's definitely something we're going to have on here. Like, sacral energy healing. Like, we have, what is it, next week? Yoni?
Yeah.
Next week.
She does work with yonis, but she's
like
going to talk about hypno breath work. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's just, like, so much stuff.
Cool stuff.
That we're going to have on and on and on.
You guys,
we have so many lined up. The possibilities, like, endless. The powerhouse
They're
of women.
They're literally endless. And I think I didn't realize that until we got into this, right? It's like, I didn't realize how many different, like, healing modalities there were. And then I was like, holy fuck, like,
so many.
Because I was like, oh yeah, we did a breathwork course, and this woman's like, no, it's different. And I was like, oh, okay, like, I didn't know. And then she's like, yeah, there's, like, multiple different types of breathwork, right? And there's multiple different types of meditation, and there's probably multiple different types of fucking sound healing, like, so many different things, like,
so many types of yoga, so many types of everything. Like, it's just like, you just have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And so we did the sound bath. We had lavender towels. We, like, gave everybody, like, a nice lavender towel as we came up. I put on some music, and we, like, everybody sang.
Oh my God. This like song, y'all. Amy played this song for us. So a couple weekends ago, if you follow us, like, we went away on this, like, best friends trip in
jumped
Mass.
In the ocean.
Yeah, we jumped in the freezing cold
ocean.
Things that
make you uncomfortable.
In the middle of February. It was fucking terrible. But
it was amazing.
It was so bad. It was amazing, but it was so bad. It was so
I had
cold.
To pull Taylor up. I think she might have blacked out.
Like, dead ass blacked out. I think if she didn't pull me out of that water, I would have just probably drowned there.
A bitch, I wouldn't let you drown.
So we went away for this weekend, and it was like this song that she had. We sat in this meditation. It was so fucking beautiful, and we sat there, and she played the bowls for us, and me and Sam were just, like, laying there and just enjoying all of it and, like, soaking it in and whatever. And then all of a sudden this song comes on that she's playing, and I'm like, me and Sam just start weeping, and she's like, okay guys, you can sing along now if you want to sing along, because it was just, like, repeating the same things. It's like, I am love, I am joy, I am enough. Like literally, that's just it. I am love, I am joy, I am enough. And it was saying it over and over, and I was just crying, and we were crying, and she's like, okay, sing it, sing it. And as soon as we started singing it, I can't explain like the like the connection with my body that it had, but it was like I felt it on a whole nother level. It was one thing to hear it, but to actually speak it into existence, like it was like so fucking powerful. So we put on the same song. The song
So
is
here's
called
the
I Am
crazy
Enough.
thing, and I'm actually learning it right now. Like I'm in a course to find my voice. Every single person on this world can sing.
Yeah.
Every single person. And so like soon enough I'll start singing with my samples. I'll get comfortable enough to do it. But like the powerful like piece of that is like using your voice.
Yeah.
Like we don't understand.
Throat
like,
chakras are
this,
just so
like,
blocked.
yeah, like we have this like idea of like what people are supposed to sound
But we're
like, but if
scared to
you
speak
just
it.
yeah, or just like feel it, or feel our own power, or feel like our own
Yeah.
strength and beauty and grace and just all of it without judgment.
Yeah, without judgment. That's key, right? It's like I feel like, again, society teaches us that like we have to dim our light and that we can't speak the things that we want to speak, or that we can't do the things we want to do. It's like, it's not true anymore. It's like, I think women specifically are starting to step back into their power and starting to realize that like, no, you can't fucking silence me. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to talk about these things. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want and whatever feels good, because like, that's what's true to me. And it was really cool to see a little bit of that aspect here as we were all collectively like sharing some real ass shit and like getting uncomfortable. And during this sound bath, AIM had us fucking screaming at the top of our lungs. And I'm just like, oh, here we go, like, we're just screaming. And that's
Like, I wonder
another
what the
thing that was
neighbors
so
think.
powerful, right? It's like in those moments, I know for me, I'm the type of person that's like, do I scream or do I not scream? Do I wait to hear if everybody else screams? Like, that's just the type of person I am. So in this moment, I told myself, I'm like, you're going to fucking scream whether anybody else screams or not. And I did. And to hear everybody else scream with me was such like a, holy shit, we're all in this together. Because like, it was like in that moment that I was like deciding for myself, like, no, I'm going to scream whether everybody else screams or not. Because like, that's something I'm always worried about, right? Again, I don't want to do something that makes me uncomfortable and I'm going to look a certain way. But like, here I am fucking screaming because she's telling me to scream. And then everyone else in this room is also screaming. And I'm like, holy shit.
Everyone screamed.
Everyone screamed. And I was like, this is incredible.
Multiple times.
Yeah, like multiple times. And that
And
was the
it's
coolest
very
thing.
powerful.
It's so powerful. It let off such a release for me. I can't even explain it. Like full body chills. First of all, sound healing in itself, like when you go to a sound bath and you experience like this vibration in your body, it's like a whole nother high, like a natural high. And so I'm already feeling super out of body, but also like in my body at the same time, if that even makes sense. And then she has us like scream, and it just felt like all that shit was just like coming out, and just like hearing it, I was like, this is so cool. This is so cool.
Yeah, I don't even know. It was like one of those things that I was also just like channeled, like, and with Jillian's breath work, like that, like it's also so empowering breath work. Jillian's another person we're gonna have on to talk about like another healing modality in breath work. But it's just one of those things. Fun fact about me is that I've never played a musical instrument in my life. I have no music background. I have no idea. I literally went to a sound bath. I went to one. My friend Jeffrey, he's amazing. He plays the sound baths. I went to one. I was struggling at a time in my life, a very transitional time, and I was just like called to order them. And like at the time, my ex-husband, he was always so supportive, like he really was, and he ordered them for me, and I just like knew.
Yeah.
Like I knew what
I
to do.
remember.
Like I never took a class. Like
No.
I've never been taught. Like I've never taken like a quote unquote certified sound healer certification. Like I just do it. Like the same thing with the handpan and the gong and like all the things. Like I just
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
I
like
just
an inner
knew.
knowing.
that like it was what I was supposed to do, and like and so now whenever I play them, like we talk about this, like I'm a vessel, like I am
She
just
like blacks out, you guys. She's like, I don't remember a thing I fucking said. I'm like, you don't? She's
No.
like, no, like I don't remember shit.
Tay was like, hey Aim, like I don't know how to lead meditations, can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, Tay.
She's like, obviously. I think I was like so nervous. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you're gonna do this, right? She's like, hello, that's what I do. And I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Like, of course that's what you do. I've literally been to fucking hundreds of them. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do, duh.
Yeah, I'm like, don't worry. I think I can handle that piece of it. Like, I think we got that.
And I just remember, like, you got your sound bowls, and I remember coming over, and like you just play them for us, and like you were just starting out, and I remember being like, this is so fucking cool. Like, cause that's like I didn't really know much about it back then. It was like
That was 6 years ago, girl. It was 6 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh my God, Kanan wasn't even born yet. You're
No,
right.
6 years.
Yeah, it was
ago.
like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah, so like I just remember like being like, oh my God, this is it. Like you got it. Like you don't
Got my
need.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like why I started Sacred Moon. It was like the same thing. Like I started Sacred Moon because like I knew, it's just like I knew, like we know. So like if you have something and you're being called to something, or if there's like a thing and you're like, oh my God, like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
God, I shared something about it today on Instagram. There's just this new woman that I've been following about like untamed women. You should follow her. She's amazing.
Taylor Simpson.
Yeah, she's so great. Just talking about being like an untamed woman. Like I have imposter syndrome all the time. When
Yeah.
I come in here and there's like a room full of 33 people and I talk about it, I'm like, this has nothing to do with me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, not like this. Like, I'm like, okay, but no, like, I know, like
Yeah.
something deep in my spirit that like this is what I'm supposed to do. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, like we talk about all the time, right? Like I was a stripper, like I was a homeless heroin addict, like I was all of these other things that like
Yep.
doesn't really qualify me to be doing kind of what I'm doing now. But maybe it does. I think it qualifies me fucking more because I've been through this shit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think that is what qualifies you. It's like you've been through the dark shit, you've lived through the dark shit, you've come out the other side of it, and like now here you are to show people that they can do the same thing. Like
I was homeless.
Yeah.
I lived homeless under the bridge in Manchester, slept on park benches, like
Yeah.
had no place to go.
Crazy.
Like my parents literally cut me off and said that they thought I was like dead. Like,
Yeah,
cut
gonna
me
die.
off. That was it.
Yeah, dude, I can't even, I think about that life and it seems like another lifetime ago. Like it honestly makes me like cringe, like to think that I used to like stick needles in my arms. It like makes me sick. Like actually makes me sick. It's crazy.
Yeah, or the feeling itself.
Yeah, I like can't even imagine my life like that anymore. Like you literally couldn't pay me enough to like ever do drugs again.
No, never. But it does. It definitely gives me that like imposter syndrome like thing when I like walk into the space or like people like I think the greatest gift of this space or even my old Sacred Moon space is like every single person that walked in was like, you have created a container that like I feel safe.
My therapist always used that word, container.
Yeah, like
She calls her office a container, and I have to leave all my shit there and not bring it home.
yeah, like when you create a place where people walk into a door, like even though the fact that like the airport's right there and like we're 2 seconds away from, Elm Street and like the worst part of the neighborhood and like all of that, but people come in here and they're like, they just shed the walls.
Yeah.
They come and they take their shoes off, they put their health in the cubby and they come into a room and they're just like, I'm able to do whatever you're asking me to do.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. And that's just it. That's the most powerful part about it, right? It's like the willingness. Like you either have it or you don't. And the ones that are willing obviously showed up. And like that's another thing we want to touch on too. Like we feel so bad for the people who couldn't like get into this one, but like time is limited. Obviously 22 people. It took us an hour and a half to get through a share. Granted, like we're going to do different things for the upcoming circles. Like they're not always going to be shares like that. So maybe we'll have space for like a couple more, but space is limited right now. And that's like, our biggest fear is not being able to just like open the doors for everyone, but we do have to keep it to that certain number just for the sake of time. And
we might add a second.
Yeah.
But also, you like, Tay's got kids and I have kids and we have a business and we're like maybe thinking about a second time on
But
like
we
a
do have a
Sunday.
community. That's what I wanted to mention. We do have the Facebook community. So even if we can't like meet up in person all the time, like, the once a month thing is like where we're at right now, but we do have a Facebook community and like we're there to like, spread messages and hope and solutions. And if you have like a good idea or something you did that worked for you, like share it. Like that's, sharing is caring and we're all willing to like hear what you have to say or what you're doing.
And the encouragement too, like I have the studio, like you could come to the studio. I do private one-on-one sessions you
Yeah.
can book on Mind and Body. But also if you're not in this area, like start your own Sacred Rebels.
Yeah.
Like messages on the Facebook, like we'll give you guidelines, like we'll help you, like if you're in a different state and you're like so called to be doing this kind of work.
Yeah.
And like you're like, oh my God, like I have so many women that could like benefit from
Benefit.
this. Like our goal is to be worldwide. Like we want to build Sacred Rebels community, like
Yeah.
all worldwide. Like that's the
Yeah.
goal. Like when I said like in the beginning, like I'd hope to have 100 women in my circle. Like I'd hope to have 1 million Sacred Rebels
All over the
women
world.
all over the world.
Yeah.
That like we could reach out and like different dynamics and like different cultures and like different things. Like
Yeah.
big things. Big things.
Big things.
Are
We dream big
happening
and we're
and we
not
dream big.
scared to
Not
speak our
scared.
dreams into existence, right? It's like that's the thing. Like we were so taught to like, dim that light, dim that light, dim that light. You're not allowed to dream big. You're not allowed to have these big goals. It's like, who the fuck said we couldn't dream big? Like I have some big goals for myself. I've got some big dreams for my family, for us, for this entire community. Like this is going to be big and I feel it and that has nothing to do with us. Again, this has nothing to do with
Yes.
us. It has everything to do with you and the work that you're willing to do. And
us just being able to be a vessel
yeah.
from the divine,
Yeah.
because that's way bigger than us. And that's when like you start to realize that like as soon as you become a vessel and like you have the infinite power of the divine universe
Yep.
flowing through you, and it is limitless and it is abundant and it is fucking unstoppable, and it doesn't
Ever loving and
matter.
accepting and all of the things.
And it doesn't matter the outside noise. There
No.
could be 1 million people telling you that you're not this and you're not it and like you're this and you're that and trying to convince you otherwise of like who you are. But when you divinely like know so deeply who you are in your heart, soul, mind, body, spirit, that like that shit ain't shaking nothing, honey.
Yes.
You are in it and
Yes.
like you find your
Yes.
people and you find your crowd and you're like, yeah, you can say what you want to say about me, but like I know who I am.
Yep. Yeah. I know who I am and I know what I'm doing.
And my purpose is to heal, because every single person on this planet should have the passion to want to heal their neighbor.
Yep.
Love their neighbor, grow into a community of supportive, connected, non-judgment.
That's where things got lost.
Yeah.
We live in such a fearful society now. It's like
Fear and separation.
yeah, we can't trust, we can't
Yeah.
rely, we can't. It's like it's sad. It's honestly sad, and like the world we do live in is fucking scary. There's scary shit happening all the time, but it's like we have to choose like what we decide to focus on. And that's like another reason why I don't watch the news. Like, dude, I decide what fucking bad shit I want to consume, and I will not like watch the news. It'll make me sick, and then I'll just be like, oh no, like I'm gonna live in fear again. And here I am, like gonna board up my house and never send my kids to school and like whatever it may be, because like that's like literally the society that we're living in right now.
I'll just say, before we end tonight, because we'll wrap it up soon, that 22 women walked into this room tonight or Friday night, and we as a society of women do not trust women.
Yeah.
We do not honor women as women. We have like built up walls of like jealousy and
Resentment.
separation and resentment and bitterness, and you have your life this way or you have this. But I'm telling you that has been like a collective plan to separate us, because the more we're in our power, like
The stronger we are.
the stronger we are. and that's just like hasn't been supported. Like strong women has not been supported. And I said it in the circle that night. I was like, this isn't like a fucking He-Man,
Yeah.
like man
Fuck men.
haters. Like, no, I fucking love men.
Yeah.
Like
this wasn't like a fuck men circle. It was just like, we need to remember our power as we are together.
and we need real masculine men that also know our fucking power.
Yeah. I'm
'Cause
grateful to have that, baby daddy now.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
But like that's another thing we were talking about, right? Like it was like you had one side of the table, and then the other side of the table was like, okay, so like I'm not feeling validated, my man doesn't validate me, he's always putting me down, whatever. And then it was the other side that was like, my man's so supportive, he sees all these things in me, he loves me and he validates me, but like I don't believe it. It's like we at the end of the day have to do that self inner work, and that was another thing that was brought to my attention too. Like I still have a lot of inner child work to do. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of these things that these women were saying, it was like, dude, my inner child just wanted like a hug. Like I just wanted to like hug my inner child and be like, Tay, it's gonna be okay. Like I'm here, I see you, I'm gonna do the work for you, and like we're gonna get through this. Cause like that was like another big thing. It was like all of them were like, my inner child is like craving some type of, not even like apology, but just like some type of acknowledgement.
Support.
Yeah, support.
Love.
Yeah.
Acceptance.
Like recognition.
Acceptance.
Like all of it.
Because that's what it is. And like we do it. I'm not like a great, I'm not like the perfect mom, right? The mom guilt, right? And
Yeah.
it's like we have these things where like we weren't, parented the best because like our parents weren't gifted the right tools. Like nobody's like gifted the right tools. Like nobody's like, oh yeah, like you're parent of the year. Like here's the book and everyone's the same. Like, yeah, like sometimes like we're not. Like we get aggravated or like all of the things.
My mom says
like,
all the time, like she'll be like, you're such a good mom, I don't know how you do it. And it's like, Mom, our culture is so different from your culture. You didn't have social media, for one. A lot of the shit I learn is from online. I'm not even joking. Like TikToks, like some parenting TikToks that I like follow teach me a lot of the things that I know now, because like I again didn't have that. Like my inner child suffered greatly because I didn't have present parents. Not on like, whatever, not placing blame, but like that was the reality. I didn't have present parents.
They were supposed to work. That was like their generation. They had to work hard and provide and just
provide.
Monetary expenses, but like we were all just like left in the dust to like play outside and like
figure it out.
Figure it out, which I love. It's one of my favorite things to say. To like, I do believe that kids really need to figure it out. But also when they're like emotional or like having like a hard time, like I make my kids like punch stuff and like
a little bit of guidance,
get their aggression out, and like yell when they need to yell, or like cry when they need to cry, or like
we always talk about feelings
when they need to scream, or it's just like we're all just figuring it out. We're all actually just figuring it out, and there isn't like we're just doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing as like if you can just look, if you like have like deep mother wounds or deep father wounds or like whatever, if we can just like remove ourselves for like a little bit and be like, wow, like maybe my parents like weren't set up for success to like be this, and they didn't have these support groups and they didn't have these things. So like we can just have a deeper understanding of like, okay, so right, like maybe my parents weren't the best, that like my idea of them being that way, but like they did the best that they could with what they had.
I was just gonna say that, yeah. Because like again, like my mom, I know for a fact, like went through tons of childhood trauma. So like at the end of the day, my mom was just an adult child raising children. Like she had so much shit she still needed to heal through and work through, and she would be the first to tell you that. Like she was just doing the best she could with what she knew. And again, like we live in this society now that like teaches us how to parent our children, gentle parenting, all the things, right? Like I believe in that stuff to like a certain extent. We were saying like, I discipline my kids. I'm not afraid to discipline my kids. Some people don't believe in disciplining their kids, but I think it teaches them respect for their peers and for their elders, and like whatever that may be or whatever that looks like. Like, no, I don't hit my children, but like if they do something fucked up, like they're going to get disciplined. Like I'm not just going to sweep it under the rug and like be like, oh, they're just a toddler, like they don't know. Like, no, that's a perfect opportunity to teach them of a correct behavior, like to correct those behaviors. So I don't know. I think it's so, the mom guilt thing is just a whole nother topic we could like literally run on a tangent with. But at the end of the day, like, we're doing the best we can with what we know. And all at the end of the day, like, all your kids need is your love and attention. I bet you $1 million if you're having a rough day with your children and they're just screaming and they're crying and they're just, not having it, put your phone away, stop whatever you're doing, get on the floor, eye level with them and play with them. I swear to God, all the rough days we've been having lately, it's either because I'm too distracted doing something I shouldn't be fucking doing, or I'm like so wrapped up in cleaning the house or having the house perfect for my husband for when he walks through the door. It's like, no, like, get on the floor and play with your kids and just give them the attention that they want. Because, like,
That's all they want.
that's all I wanted. Like, still, my inner child today is like, I just wanted love and attention. That's all I wanted. And like those behaviors that our toddlers have and the way that they act out is because they're not getting the attention or the validation that they're seeking. And so lately, like, my thing is like, okay, phone away. Like, kids start screaming and I'm getting frustrated. It's like my inner knowing is like, okay, it's time to like get on the floor and like interact with them, because that's clearly what they're freaking out about.
Yeah, and it honestly, it doesn't take a lot.
No.
It's just like, I see you.
I see you. I'm
see
here. I'm on the
you.
floor with you. Let's fucking play your Legos.
I see you.
We'll
and
do
that's
it.
like, that's it. Like, there's nothing more, a better compliment for me from a friend or somebody that's close in my life is just like, I see you. And like, it's Avatar, right? Like, I see you. I just like want to put my hand on your heart and like love you and be like, I see you. I feel you. Like, I validate you. Like, I'm here to honor you. And that's what we're doing. Like, that's what we're doing. 22 women sat here and every single one of us saw each other, validated each other, supported each other, and did the thing like no matter what anybody said.
Yeah.
And
it was beautiful.
Beautiful. So that's the message.
It was so beautiful.
I see you.
And that's it. And like,
we see you.
Yeah.
We see you because like that's what we want. We want to be seen. Like, we all want to be validated. We all want to be seen for all the shit, like, beautiful, indifferent, not the pain.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. We're not alone.
We are not alone. And that was like made so clear.
We're not alone.
And the reason why, I love this deck so much, the Sacred Rebels deck, it's such a good starter deck because not only does it give you like a clear message of like what the card means, but it also gives you like a healing process. And like to this process, like I think we should end it off with this healing process. It's like a short meditation. And, at the end of the day, if your life is looking like a storm right now, if you're like going through it and shit's looking real dark and cloudy and you're like, where's the sun? When am I going to get out of this? Just know, like, this is my favorite saying ever. Like, feelings are temporary. Whatever you're going through right now, that shit is temporary. The sun will shine again, and when it does, it'll be so beautiful, and you'll be so grateful that you have experienced the darkness to really appreciate the sunshine when it comes. And so the healing process that this message came with today, that our card came with, is this. It says, so, if you're sitting comfortably right now, if you're driving, whatever, just imagine that you're standing at the silent center of a great cleansing storm. All aspects of your life are rained upon, blown about, and even messed up a little. How do you feel? The storm then passes, and you are left with soft sunshine and slightly soggy feet. Some parts of your life will have been washed away, and some others will be strong and stable. A bit messy, perhaps, but still there nonetheless. How do you feel? Underneath your feet, you see a pattern forming in the cleansed earth, as if it is rising up from the damp, slightly disturbed soil. A golden, gleaming, geometric pattern of the flower of life glows. Sense the perfection of the form. See how each flower feeds into the next in symmetry, harmony, and balance. And finish this practice in this guided meditation by saying these following words. I give thanks for the higher order of my life, which I trust implicitly as it guides me into wholeness and love. From which appears as chaos, new order is rising. I trust this and receive the gift of the higher order in my life now. Through grace and mercy, so be it.
So be it.
So be it. That's just it. Embrace it.
And the higher order. That's like the thing, like being a vessel. Like, I just can't say it enough that like all of the things that have happened to me over the past however many years that I've been open to it, I really have realized that it has nothing to do with me, that I really just get to be this beautiful vessel, and
Yeah.
I just get to like get these messages and like do these things to
Because you're
just
open to it. Anyone can experience these things too. It's like, I think that's what has been taught to me over the past few years as I've been like kind of awakening and going through this spiritual experience. It's like everyone has these inner knowings and these psychic abilities for themselves. Like, you just have to tap in. Like, you have to do the work and you have to tap in. Tap in. But like, seriously, dead ass, tap it in.
that shit. It's fine.
Whew.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went light tonight. Little light.
Was it light?
I mean, like, I put a little thing on my Insta story and I was like, all right, well, we were supposed to have a guest tonight, but, life happens and she couldn't make it. And so we were like, all right, fuck it, it's just us. Let's talk about the circle. Or should we talk about our sexual trauma? Because me and Aim were both, sexually molested as children. And I was just like, no, like, Kaylin's story was last week. Probably should, like, keep it a little light this week and save that story for another time. Because, like, again, we're not afraid to get dark and vulnerable, but it's that one's gonna be a tough one for me.
Yeah, and yeah, it will definitely be tough for me also, but I'm really excited to share some like really raw, honest truths that I feel like the more we're like open about it, the more that I know that it happened to so many people. And I think that it's just like, if we're not talking about it now,
Yeah.
I'm tired. Happy Monday.
Yeah.
That like if we're not like raw and vulnerable about these things, like I think it's something else that more women feel alone about, and men. I think that it's something that is just like happened throughout our generation because sex was like so taboo to talk about that like people weren't really like talking about the things or making it a safe container.
Two men reached out to me today on my story.
Yeah, that it just like wasn't like a safe place because people felt shame.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the time it always happens with like a close family member or like a direct family member.
Yeah.
And my adult life, like the amount of people that have just been like shown to me that like very same similar situation happened to them too. So we're just here, like we're brave. Like there's not one thing that I know about me. Like I'm brave and I do not give a shit. And I know Tay is brave and like we're just like here, like as ready as we can be because we're not really ready.
Yeah.
But we just are because it's time. Like it's just time that people just like don't feel alone anymore and just like come out. And I know with us sharing like even this, like the amount of guests that we have coming on that are very similar situations or people that like wanted to kill themselves because of the same situation, like, and just like how they got through it and like how they're literally living like a life so powerful and so beautiful and so connected. And like that's the message that we have. Like it doesn't matter how dark you feel or like how alone you feel or like however it is,
what
like
shit you went through.
What shit, like trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, abusive relationships, narcissistic relationships,
all of it,
loss of children, loss of babies, loss of family, loss of whatever, doctors, lawyers, like it's all of it. It's all coming on, like all women that have used those things and now have like a holistic approach to how they deal with their situations.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're excited.
Yeah, we are very excited. And I know when that time is right, we will share our stories. And I know, a lot of the people who, are on my social media and have followed me in my network know, like, the gist of it. 'Cause I've been very open in this past year through EMDR and whatever, and sharing what I can to help others. 'Cause again, like she just said, we know a lot of people struggle with the same thing. So, my goal this last year was to be open and to get uncomfortable and to share these things because a lot of people don't have the resources, again, for a women's circle or to get help through therapy or whatever it may be. So, we'll go deep that day. But for right now, we wanted to talk about the beautiful circle that we had and all the ones that we are going to have in the future. So, with that being said, we just want to thank everyone who came to that circle. We want to thank everyone who comes to the future circles. We can't wait to meet you. We can't wait to work with you. We can't wait to heal with you, right? Like we're here doing this with you. We're not just here facilitating. Like we did the exercises too. We got deep too. We got raw too. Like we're doing everything with you. So yeah, we're very excited for the future of what will come.
The Sacred Rebels. We want it worldwide.
Yeah.
Sacred worldwide. Prestige worldwide. Boats and hoes. Boats and hoes.
Oh, fucking tired. Get me off of here.
Everybody, hand on the heart, hand on the belly. In through the nose. Let that shit go. It's not serving you. It doesn't belong there. Let it go. Out the body. Good night.
Thanks so much, guys.
Mwah. Good night, good morning, whenever you're listening. Good afternoon. Happy fucking day. Woo! Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say. It means the world. As always, we want to end this episode by reminding you that we are not medical professionals and we are not giving any type of medical advice. We are simply sharing our experience and solutions.
We are here with the intentions of reminding you that you are never alone and that everyone's healing journey is unique to the individual. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated. Stay well, Sacred Rebels. See you next time.